A cheerful good morning and a very warm welcome to one and all present here today in the science class. Once again, I, Gaurav Kumar Divedi, welcome you back on behalf of Sunbeam Academy. Before starting with today's session, again, I would like to tell you related to your this pandemic situation, that is related to your COVID-19 only. If you would have gone through the newspapers, you would have come to know that though the number of cases are declining in our India, but if we talk about the other foreign countries like America or anything like that, okay, so the number of active COVID cases is continuously increasing there. Okay, it is not taking a pause or it is not declining there. And freshly, I hope yesterday's news was there, that is in 24 hours 4 lakh new cases of COVID-19 patients have been found out. So all these figures, or basically you can say whatever these news headlines are being there, whether from India or from anywhere else in the country, this is an alarming situation for each and every one of us to please be attentive as well as take care of all the necessary actions and everything, because we never know that is how this is going to be eradicated unless and until we get vaccinated as soon as possible. So most probably by the January we will also be getting the vaccines, although it has been already started yet, and the first person was the first vaccinated person or under the trial was done in Patna. I hope I would have told you this part yesterday. Okay, so without any delay, let us start with our today's class. And at the same time, I request you to take all the necessary precautions and advise others as well to do all these things. Okay, because being the last situation or being the last time, let's not get into any more trouble and let's try to eradicate this problem till the end. Okay, so let us see here what we have here. The very first thing, the syllabus part. Okay, this is the chapter, that is your sun, the earth and the moon, which we have started, and most probably tomorrow we are going to complete this entire chapter. Okay, next thing, as you can see, the periodic test 2, which is going to be held in December. This already you all have got the date sheets and everything, either it is 4th of January or 5th of January on which your periodic test of science has been scheduled. So please be prepared with both these chapters nicely so that you are able to score good marks. Okay, both these chapters, that is your simple machine and air and water, that is from here, that is lesson number 11 and lesson number 12 till here, not your lesson number 3, that is your rocks and minerals are not there, they are included in your annual syllabus. Let us start with this chapter which we have already started. Let us try to finish it today so that by tomorrow we'll be able to complete the question answers and everything. What we are able to see here is, that is we have already started, we have already learnt about what are they, the sun, which is a star, the moon, satellite, and the earth, a heavenly body or a planet. Okay, next we also discussed about what are the different properties of the sun, what is sun made up of, what are the reactions which are taking place, how long this is going to last, and at the same time what is the approximate temperatures and everything. When we talked about the earth, we also talked about why this earth is called to be the only planet for survival, because of having various characteristics like water, atmosphere, soil, right amount of heat and light from the sun, neither too hot nor too cold, and at the same time the right amount of gravitational force. Next we also studied about the structure of the earth, in which we have divided the earth into three layers, that is your crust, mantle and core, and depending on all the three layers, what we have come to know is, that is all the three layers, they are basically divided on the basis of their characteristics. Crust being the outermost, mantle being the middle layer between crust and the innermost layer, core being the innermost, mainly containing iron and nickel, and the deepest and the hottest layer of the earth. Then we have also discussed about this checkpoint as well. Then we discussed about the moon, which is the only natural satellite of the earth, which keeps on revolving around the earth. Next we have when does the moon shine or why does the moon shine. So the moon does not have any light of its own, it is only reflecting the sunlight that falls on its surface. Therefore moonlight is nothing but reflected sunlight. Surface of the moon very much uneven because of the craters and everything. Okay, why these craters are formed? Because when the meteors they fall on the surface of the moon, they created a long or deep hollow like structures. We also discussed about the different phases of the moon, like your gibbous, crescent, okay, gibbous, crescent, new, full moon and everything. Crescent and waxing, that is when the moonlight is continuously decreasing or we are not able to observe the full moon or the size of the moon. Basically the light of the moon is decreasing day by day, that is known as your crescent phase. Whereas if the light is increasing day by day and finally it turns into a new full moon, okay, then that is known to be a waxing phase of the moon. Okay, life on the moon, we have also discussed this one as well, that is since it has a very thin atmosphere, not having the important gases like the earth, and at the same time not having water as well. Okay, so because of which life on the moon is not possible. Okay, and since life on the moon is not possible just because it is not having proper conditions for the survival. Okay, we have already discussed about the phases, then we have discussed this part. Okay, if you remember, that is the moon is actually not changing its shape, it is just appearing because we see different portions of the lighted half of the moon on different days here. Then we discussed about India's Chandrayaan mission has detected traces of water locked under the moon's surface. Then we had discussed regarding the eclipses, that is your grahan. Okay, and this eclipses are formed whenever the moon or the earth comes in between the sun and the earth or the sun and the moon respectively. Okay, if the moon is coming in between sun and the earth, it is known as your solar eclipse, and if the earth is coming between sun and the moon, then it is known as your lunar eclipse. Okay, solar eclipse and lunar eclipse, in both the cases we have discussed that a shadow forms on the surface of the earth and people living in those areas, they are not able to see the sun directly. Okay, this is known as to be your total solar eclipse, where other parts of the world receives partial solar eclipse. Next we have here the total lunar eclipse, when the earth completely forms the shadow or when the moon is exactly in front of the earth and the middle of the earth. Whereas if the moon is little bit upper or lower, so a little bit portion of the sunlight is able to reach to the moon and thereby reflecting a light of the sun, so that is known as to be your partial lunar eclipse. Okay, then we also discussed why the eclipses should not be seen directly, and at the same time we have also discussed the different types of satellites which are being made by the human beings, that is the man-made satellites, artificial satellites. The very first one was launched by Russia, which is known as the Sputnik in 1957, followed by Aryabhat from India in 1975. It has also sent satellites to the moon, Chandrayaan, and also to the Mars, Mangalyaan. Okay, now till here we have done in the last class. No, we also discussed this paragraph. What I remember, that is artificial satellites are mostly used for communication, weather forecast and research. They are also used to study other objects in space here. Okay, अब यहाँ तक तो हमने पढ़ लिया था. अब इसके आगे जब हम लोग कंटिन्यू करेंगे तो इसके आगे क्या है कि बेसिकली कम्युनिकेशन सैटेलाइट्स आर यूज्ड टू ट्रांसमिट रेडियो एंड टेलीविजन सिग्नल्स. We are able to watch live cricket matches on TV because of the communication satellites. These are also used for telephonic communications, internet navigations, etc. Okay, before going ahead with that, I would like to remind you, or I remember I would have told you yesterday as well. That is one of the more communication satellite has been launched by India, and it has successfully landed also. Okay, the mission is completely successful, as we are getting some informations, or we are able to maintain connections through it. Okay, moving ahead with this, let us start with our today's class. So in today's class, let us start with from here, that is weather satellites. Okay, when we are talking about, so one of them was communication satellites. Communication means transferring of messages from one place to another, or exchange of information from one place to another. They are known as your communication satellites. Moving ahead with the next one we have here, that is your weather satellites. So when we are talking about the weather satellites, so these weather satellites, they gather information about formation and movement of clouds. This information is used to make daily weather forecast. These satellites also gather information about snowfall, rains, storms or cyclones. Okay, that is you must have known here, या फिर आपको मैं दोनों चीज़ें थोड़ा सा क्लियर कर देता हूँ कि ये पहले के टाइम्स में, या फिर अगर आप लोग अपने पेरेंट्स से पूछेंगे इस बात को, तो दे विल बी एबल टू टेल यू इन अ मोर बेटर वे. दैट इज बेटर वे क्या है वो मैं आपको बता रहा हूँ कि पहले हमारे पास खाली 2 चैनल्स होते थे मोस्टली. ओके, बेसिकली वी वर हैविंग ओनली 2. फर्स्ट वी वर हैविंग ओनली 1 चैनल, दैट वाज योर डीडी नेशनल, फॉलोड बाय मेट्रो. ओके, मेट्रो चैनल आया फिर उसके बाद. देन आफ्टर दैट वी हैड द डिश एंड ऑल दोज थिंग्स. ओके, तो बेसिकली होता क्या था कि नेटवर्क का बहुत ज़्यादा इश्यू रहता था. नेटवर्क सिग्नल्स का इश्यू बेसिकली क्या रहता था कि हमेशा या तो पिक्चर क्लैरिटी नहीं रहती थी, या तो चैनल्स नहीं आते थे, या तो कुछ ना कुछ प्रॉब्लम्स नाउ एंड देन रहते ही रहते थे. ओके, जस्ट बिकॉज वी वर नॉट एज मच डेवलप्ड एज अदर कंट्रीज, और वी वर नॉट हैविंग दोज कम्युनिकेशन सैटेलाइट्स विच वर इफेक्टिवली वर्किंग in India. Okay, but now we are able to get HD clarity, 3D clarity and everything. Why all these things are possible? Just because of the better communication satellites which has been successfully launched by the scientists of India. Okay, next thing, and that is weather forecast. When we are talking about, that is weather forecasting satellites, when we are talking about, तो पहले के टाइम पे क्या होता था कि बाढ़ आ जाती थी, भूकंप आ जाते थे. ठीक है, अभी भी वो चीज़ होता है, ऐसा नहीं है. ठीक है, लेकिन पहले हम लोग अपने डेंजर को कम नहीं कर पाते थे, या डिस्ट्रक्शन को या हार्मफुलनेस को, जो भी हार्म हो रहे थे उसको कम नहीं कर पाते थे. कम नहीं कर पाने का मतलब ये था कि जैसे हमें आ गया एकाएक, हमें उसके बारे में कोई भी इंफॉर्मेशन नहीं थी, ना हम उसके लिए बिल्कुल भी तैयार थे. लेकिन आज क्या है, हम उन्हें रोक तो नहीं सकते हैं, लेकिन उसके लिए तैयारी ज़रूर कर सकते हैं. जैसे अब अगर हमें ये पता चल गया कि हाँ 1 घंटे बाद यहाँ पे साइक्लोन आने वाला है, अर्थक्वेक आने वाला है, ठीक है, या फिर कुछ भी एक नेचुरल डिज़ास्टर होने वाला है, तो हम क्या कर सकते हैं, अपने आप को थोड़ा सा प्रिपेयर कर सकते हैं, अपने आप को शिफ्ट कर सकते हैं. जितना हो सकता है मिनिमम से मिनिमम डैमेज हम कर सकते हैं, अपने आप को बचा सकते हैं. तो दिस ऑल दीज थिंग्स आर जस्ट पॉसिबल बिकॉज ऑफ दीज weather forecasting satellites. Okay, let us go ahead with this. Okay, so these weather satellites, you look basically formation and movement of clouds, and on the basis of this information only we are able to make the weather forecast daily. These satellites also gather information about the snowfall, rains, storms or cyclones. Now some man-made satellites, they take photographs of certain regions of the earth and give us valuable information such as forest data, groundwater and mineral reserves under the earth and the oceans. Okay, तो ये भी क्या है, मतलब अपार्ट फ्रॉम दिस साइक्लोन्स, वेदर फोरकास्टिंग, रेनफॉल, स्नो एंड एवरीथिंग, इनके अलावा भी और बहुत सारी वैल्यूएबल इंफॉर्मेशंस हैं, जैसे फॉरेस्ट कितना है, ग्राउंड वाटर का डेटा क्या है, मिनरल रिजर्व्स अंडर द अर्थ एंड द ओशंस कितने हैं. अब ये भी आप पता लगा सकते हैं. इंडियन एस्ट्रोनॉमर्स, व्हेन वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट, सो एस्ट्रोनॉमर्स कौन होते हैं, वो सारे साइंटिस्ट जो स्टार्स, मून्स, प्लैनेट्स, कॉमेट्स, मिटियोर्स या कोई भी हेवनली बॉडी जो स्पेस में प्रेजेंट है उसके बारे में जितने लोग, जो भी लोग स्टडी करते हैं, पढ़ते हैं, दे आर नोन एज योर एस्ट्रोनॉमर्स. ओके, Now there have been a number of astronomers from India who have made, okay, an important contributions to the study of the universe. Some of the prominent ones are mentioned below. Okay, starting with this, और जैसे अगर आपको ध्यान हो, थोड़ा सा मैं आप लोग को यहाँ पे बताना चाहूँगा, या फिर कुछ मैक्सिमम लोग आप लोग जानते भी हो, लाइक APJ अब्दुल कलाम, ठीक है, आप सभी लोग जानते हैं इनको, ठीक है. सो ही वॉज द फेमस साइंटिस्ट. तो इनके साथ क्या था कि जब फर्स्ट मिसाइल लॉन्च किया गया था, ठीक है, फर्स्ट मिसाइल जब लॉन्च किया गया था, तो उसका जो रॉकेट था, या फर्स्ट रॉकेट जब लॉन्च किया गया था, तो वो साइकिल पे लेकर के गया था, लेकर के हम लोग गए थे, ठीक है. आफ्टर दैट वी सक्सेसफुली लॉन्च्ड इट, ठीक है. आजकल बहुत सारे टेक्नोलॉजीज़ हैं, ट्रांसपोर्टेशन सिस्टम्स एंड एवरीथिंग. तो ऐसा नहीं है कि जो है अगर हम लोग करना चाहें तो कुछ नहीं कर सकते हैं. ऑफ कोर्स वी कैन डू इट, बट इट्स ऑल अबाउट आवर विल, okay, how much support we are getting from anyone, and at the same time our desires and determination as well. Okay, next let us see about these astronomers who are present here. Okay, so the very first one we have here is, that is your Aryabhat. Okay, जैसा कि आपको अभी यहाँ पे याद हो, ठीक है, फर्स्ट सैटेलाइट भी था, इन्हीं के नाम पे था, और ही वॉज द पर्सन टू लॉन्च इट. Okay, so Aryabhat was one of the earliest astronomers who suggested that Earth rotated on its axis. He also explained the formation of eclipses. इन्होंने ही ग्रहण के बारे में भी बताया, और इन्होंने ही ये बताया कि हमारा अर्थ जो है वो एक एक्सिस पे रोटेट करता है, ठीक है, मतलब रोटेशन कर रहा है. ओके, नेक्स्ट वन वी हैव भास्करा 2 calculated the time taken for the earth to orbit द सन, मतलब सन के चारों तरफ घूमने में, ठीक है, अर्थ को कितना टाइम लगता है. दैट वॉज योर द टोटल टाइम टेकन वॉज कैलकुलेटेड बाई भास्करा 2. द डिफरेंस बिटवीन हिज कैलकुलेशंस एंड मॉडर्न कैलकुलेशंस वॉज ओनली 3.5 मिनट्स. अब सोचिए उस टाइम पे 1114 एंड 1185 टाइम्स में, ठीक है, जब हमारे पास कोई भी मॉडर्न टेक्नोलॉजीज नहीं थी, मॉडर्न इक्विपमेंट्स नहीं थे, मॉडर्न टेलीस्कोप्स एंड ये सारी चीज़ें नहीं थी, तब का जो उनका जो टाइम था, जो उन्होंने टाइम डिसाइड किया था या बताया था, और आज के मॉडर्न कैलकुलेशन के टाइम के हिसाब से खाली 3.5 मिनट्स का डिफरेंस है. मतलब खाली उन्होंने 3-3.5 मिनट या तो पहले बताया था या तो बाद में बताया था. ओके, मीन्स 3.5 मिनट ज़्यादा या 3.5 मिनट्स कम लग रहे हैं अर्थ को, नहीं तो एग्जैक्टली फिगर सेम है. ओके, द नेक्स्ट वी हैव, दैट इज योर मेघनाथ साहा, दैट इज फ्रॉम 1893 to 1956, who studied the chemical and physical conditions on stars. ठीक है, अब सोचिए स्टार्स कहाँ पर हैं, हम लोग कहाँ पर हैं, but still we are able to study the physical and the chemical conditions. That is just because of the development in the technologies and everything. The last but not the least, second last we have here, that is your Subramanian Chandrasekhar, that is from 1910 to 1995, who studied the structure and life cycle of stars. That is, what is the structure of these stars and what is the life cycle of these stars. He received the Nobel Prize in Physics for his work there. Okay, next we have, that is your Jayant Narlikar, okay, or Narlikar, that is born in 1938, has done important research on the origin of universe. Okay, moving ahead with this, so these are the famous 4 to 5, okay, 4 we have here, I hope. That is your Aryabhat, Bhaskara 2, Meghnad Saha, Subramanian Chandrasekhar and Jayant Narlikar. Okay, apart from this, the famous one which I was just talking you about. Okay, so Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, he was a great scientist. He was born to poor parents in Rameshwaram, Tamil Nadu. Braving hardships and earning scholarships, Dr. Kalam studied hard and became a scientist. Dr. Kalam and his team designed India's first rocket SLV-3 that launched a satellite to orbit the earth. मतलब ये एक सबसे पहला रॉकेट SLV-3, ठीक है, लॉन्च किया गया था जो अर्थ को ऑर्बिट करेगा. अर्थ को ऑर्बिट मतलब अर्थ के चारों तरफ घूमेगा. He played a major role in developing missiles such as Prithvi and Agni in India. He was awarded the Bharat Ratna in 1997. Dr. Kalam was elected President of India in 2002. He used to encourage and inspire students and teachers across India. He was very popular among the people for his simple heartedness and was fondly called the People's President. Okay. Before going ahead, okay, with this, I would first like to share a little story. I was just going through the YouTube and everything. Okay, so there was a debate or a kind of, public opinion or something speech was going on, in which some of the peoples were there who were asking the questions to him, that is Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. So the question was, that is, what are the important things which are required for the development of a nation? Okay, so different peoples were different things, that is technology, knowledge, all these things they were said by them, money, power, everything. Okay, so in the last he told that you all have said all the things, but one thing is missing, which is very much required for them. And the last thing he told that one of the most important thing to build a nation is the culture. ठीक है, हम कैसा बिहेवियर कर रहे हैं, हमारा क्या कल्चर है, क्या एटीट्यूड है, ये सबसे बड़ा ज़रूरी है. अगर हमने ये बिल्डअप कर लिया तो समझिए हमारा नेशन बिल्डअप अपने आप हो जाएगा. ओके, नाउ व्हेन वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट द कल्चर हियर, so culture includes each and everything, our eating habits, our walking habits, the rules and regulations which are being followed by us and everything. ठीक है, अगर हम पीछे हैं तो it is just because of our narrow mindedness. ठीक है, we are busy in thinking about others, what is going on in their lives. We are not focused about what we are doing it. ठीक है, हम सबसे ज़्यादा इसीलिए परेशान हैं कि उसकी लाइफ में क्या हो रहा है, वो नहीं पढ़ रहा है तो मैं क्यों पढूं, वो नहीं कर रहा है तो मैं क्यों करूं, वो गंदा कर रहा है तो मैं भी गंदा करूंगा. All these are the things, the sum of the questions which remains unanswered and is not going to be answered unless and until that same people is going to have a proper culture, a proper attitude towards the nation and being a responsible citizen. Okay, next if we go ahead with this, so we have here that is keywords. Okay, एक और चीज़ मैं बोलना चाहता हूँ, मैं अब नेक्स्ट टाइम होगा तो मैं नोट डाउन करके भी रखूँगा इस चीज़ को. आई डोंट नो हु इज़ दैट स्टूडेंट, आइदर फ्रॉम सामने घाट और कहीं एक स्टूडेंट है, आई डोंट रिमेंबर एग्जैक्टली द नेम एज वेल एज द ब्रांच नेम, लेकिन अब नेक्स्ट टाइम, क्योंकि ये 2-3 बार हो चुका है, तो आई होप दिस टाइम इफ इट अगेन गेट्स रिपीटेड आई विल मेंशन द नेम. ओके, एंड एट द सेम टाइम आई विल नोट इट डाउन एज वेल. मैं इतने दिन से पढ़ा रहा हूँ और मुझे नहीं लगता है, शायद आप सभी लोगों का वीडियोस भी ऑन ही है. ठीक है, ऑडियो तो मान लीजिए सुनाई दे ही रहा है, और मेरी आवाज़ इतनी पतली भी नहीं है कि लड़कियों की तरह है या औरतों की तरह है. बट स्टिल आई हैव फाउंड 1 or 2 स्टूडेंट, आई होप 1 ओनली. ओके, आप जब क्वेश्चन पूछते हो तो आप बोलते हो मैम आई हैव डन, तो डू यू थिंक दैट आई एम अ मैम और आई एम लुकिंग लाइक अ फीमेल, या मेरी आवाज़ ऐसी है या मेरा चेहरा ऐसा है कि आपको दिखाई नहीं दे रहा है कि वेदर आई एम अ मैम और अ सर, वट एवर इट इज़. तो प्लीज़ डू टेक केयर इट बेटा. ठीक है, बहुत ही ऑकवर्ड लगता है ये थोड़ा सा, बिकॉज यू ऑल ऑफ यू शुड नो दैट वट एवर यू आर पोस्टिंग इट इन द क्वेरी सेशन, that is being looked by each and everyone, starting from the director ma'am, chairman sir and everyone. So इसीलिए मैं आप सभी से रिक्वेस्ट करता हूँ कि प्लीज़ whatever you are posting it, please do post it very carefully. And that student, बेटा ध्यान से देख लो, मैं सर ही हूँ, मैं मैम नहीं हूँ. Okay, so in this way we have completed our chapter today. Okay, please write down the keywords. Okay, these are, that is, you define the following terms. We have 3 are there: meteor, eclipse and the satellite. Okay, प्लीज राइट इट डाउन ऑल दीज 3 एंड पुट टुडेज डेट एज वेल। ठीक है, आप जब भी मैं कुछ भी बोल रहा हूँ लिखने के लिए, जब मैं आपको क्वेश्चन आंसर्स प्रोवाइड करूंगा तो आप क्वेश्चन आंसर्स की डेट डालिएगा। जब मैं आपको एक्सरसाइज या डिफाइन द फॉलोइंग टर्म्स जिस दिन करवाऊंगा तो आप उस दिन उसकी डेट डालिए। ओके, दिस विल बी मच बेटर फॉर यू एज वेल। ठीक है, जिस दिन जो करवाया जा रहा है उस दिन की वो डेट डालिए। ओके, so in this way, this is define the following terms. I hope you all would have done. Now you will be doing it today. Please do it in your fair copies as well, and complete it. And if you want to share it, you can share it in the query sessions as well. Not at all a problem. Okay, now when let us finish at least one of them. Okay, as we can see the time here, still we have 3 minutes. Okay, so let us answer. Take the correct answer. That is the very first one we have here. Any object that revolves around a planet in a fixed path. Okay, so around a planet is revolving something. So that object is nothing but a satellite. Whether it is a natural satellite or a artificial satellite. Okay, जैसे अभी आपने देखा कि प्लैनेट अर्थ हमारा प्लैनेट था, उसके अराउंड ही सारे सैटेलाइट्स हमने लॉन्च करे हैं। ये सारे आर्टिफिशियल सैटेलाइट्स कहाँ लॉन्च हुए हैं? अर्थ के किनारे ही। एंड एट द सेम टाइम द मून विच वॉज प्रेजेंट। ओके, दिस मून इज ऑल्सो कंटिन्यूसली मूविंग और रिवॉल्विंग अराउंड द सन, द अर्थ ओनली। ओके, दैट इज वाई इट इज कंसिडर्ड टू बी द नेचुरल सैटेलाइट। ओके, the second one we have here, so this one will be your satellite. Okay, first one. Next we have the outermost layer of the earth is known as the crust. All of us we know. The moon completes one revolution around the earth. Now let us have a look over this one. The moon is completing one revolution around the earth. Okay, now see here, it completes one revolution around the earth in 27.3 days. Okay, that is the moon revolves around the earth and it completes one revolution in 27.3 days here. Okay, so this will be your correct answer. That is the moon completes its one revolution around the earth in 27.3 days. When the size of the bright portion of the moon grows, it is called the dash moon. Okay, now see the bright portion, that is you are able to see the moon clearly. It is growing, मतलब वो increase हो रहा है। Okay, so see here, bright portion of the moon getting increased here. ये देखिए, यहाँ से bright portion पहले सबसे कम था, उससे ज़्यादा हुआ, उससे ज़्यादा, उससे ज़्यादा, उससे ज़्यादा. So bright portion is growing. So this is known as your waxing moon. Okay. Okay, so this is known as your waxing moon. A scientist who studies the objects in space such as stars, moons, planets, etc. is called an astronomer. Okay, please don't get confused with astrologer. Astrologer वो होता है जो भविष्यवाणी देखता है. Okay, and astronomer is the person who studies the objects in space. Okay, so this was there for tick the correct answer. Okay, the next, match the columns. I hope we don't have the time that much. Okay, already the time is about to be over. So let us conclude it today, and from here, that is from B, C, D and E, F, everything we will be discussing it tomorrow. Okay, if possible, if time is there, that is much more time will be left tomorrow, so we will be starting with the new chapter, that is your climatic changes or changes in the environment, whatever it is there, we'll be starting with that chapter. Okay, so this was all for today. Okay, I hope you would have enjoyed the class, and at the same time, please don't forget to complete your fair copies with the define the following terms, and at the same time please do not forget to use the mask and social distancing and precautions necessary to protect yourself from this pandemic situation. So this was all for today. Thanks a lot for being with me, and have a superb day ahead. Thank you.